In this LinkConn 1000 video, we will be training on auxiliary controls, also known as aux controls. You see, aux controls allows you to control any unassigned equipment or alarm output based on a specified environmental condition. Now, aux controls can be used as a flexible alarm control. Aux controls can turn on an alarm output, either high alarm, low alarm, or both alarms on the specified environmental condition. It also could be used as a conditional equipment control, meaning if some specific condition occurs in your greenhouse, then activate certain equipment. With aux controls, you can have up to 8 of them at any given time. You can program your aux control to be any output 1 through 12, low alarm, high alarm, or both alarm outputs. Now, aux controls will not allow you to assign an output channel that is already being used by an equipment. For example, aux 2 and 3 is in fact enabled and the conditions are set. However, if I go to the main screen and you look in the main screen equipment status window, 2 displays the aux control being enabled, but 3 does not. And we'll go into 3 and we will discover that 3 is in fact an on-off equipment type device. But if we change 3 to be none, to be an unassigned device, and hit update, you'll now notice that number 3 is now being controlled by the conditions of the third aux control right here. Now, to enable an aux control, just simply change the disable to the item that's part of the conditional equation that you're creating. For instance, temp 2. Now select the conditions. You want to adjust the sensor input to be either greater or less than, as well as you want to input the value in which it will trigger at. And for our example, we'll put 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Now you would click inside the box for bigger values, use the arrows for changing values at smaller increments. Next, we'll set the condition time. The specified condition must occur for the specified time in order to activate the output channel. Now, for our example, we'll have 0 so that when we do our test, it will engage immediately. Now, set is to turn on or activate your piece of equipment or alarm you choose on the preceding field. Now, the device or output we want to use for our example will be channel 4, which channel 4 is our bottom heat. And finally, the hold time. Once the condition is no longer met, in other words, the temp rises above 60 degrees Fahrenheit, the hold time will keep the channel active for the specified amount of time. Now, in our example, if temp 2, temp probe 2, measures a temperature below 60 degrees Fahrenheit for 0 seconds, then output number 4, channel 4, bottom heat, will turn on and then remain active for the amount of time, and for our example, it will be 0, or until the temperature rises above 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, this is useful to prevent cycling of equipment. Now, looking at our preset aux controls, aux control 1 engages if CO2 is over 1800 ppms, which will engage both alarms if it occurs. And aux 4 engages if temp 2 is under 60 degrees Fahrenheit. So what we'll do is we'll do the following. We'll update these aux controls, and we'll go ahead and go into our configuration, and we'll go ahead and make our CO2 1900, which is above the threshold of the aux control alarm, and we'll make the temp 2 to be 40 degrees Fahrenheit. And update both these and this as well. Now back at the home screen, you can see that auxiliary control number 4, or output number 4, is in fact engaged, and both low alarm and high alarm is engaged as well because of the conditions that are met in aux control number 1 greater than 1800 and aux control number 4 if the temp is less than 60. And right now the current ppm reading is 1900, and the temp for temp 2 is in fact 40 degrees. Now if we look at the controller, from the controller perspective, you can see that both alarms are engaged and aux control number 4 is in fact on. Now one thing to remember with aux controls is that the weather station overrides, supersedes, and takes priority over aux conditional controls. And finally, due to the unique flexible nature of aux controls, we recommend this application to the more advanced users who have experience with the overall logic of this controller. And that's our video in setting up auxiliary controls, aux controls, conditional controls with the iGrow 1400 controller using LinkConn.